to folks that come before a court and they're asked, do you want a jury trial or do you want just a judge to decide? Where do you think people should go with that from what you see in a day in, day out basis?
Well, first they should trust their lawyer's advice. The lawyer's is going to know better than they are as to what kind of judge they have. I think I'm a great judge, and so I encourage people to have bench trials. I have people thanking me even when they lose. They thank me because they know I was thoughtful and courteous and fair. But if not, then you may want a jury trial and have a jury decide your case. But there's a lot of thought goes into it and a lot of strategy on behalf of the lawyer and the client to decide which case they want. The automobile accidents, the defense attorneys always want a jury trial. I very rarely do an automobile accident as a bench trial.
I'm curious also with a re-election, when we vote for politicians, there seems to be a lot of information, easy way to see who's who, what they stand for, and all of that. As a judge, it may often be a little more nuanced. How should people get educated about who the candidates are? And on a broader question, do you think it's right that judges are up for re-election and that they have to, in a sense, campaign?
Well, it's very difficult because there's a lot of things as a judge I cannot say. You know, I cannot take positions that may come before me. And so I'm limited as what I can say as a judicial candidate. It makes it hard. Now, there's a big debate on whether judges should be appointed or elected. And different states have different rules regarding that. There's also hybrid ways to do it, where judges are appointed and then they have what's called a retention ballot, where you're appointed and then when you do your term, let's say 4 years, which is my term is 4 years, at the end of the term, the voters then vote whether or not you've done a good job or not and to keep you or not. The thing that I think where people should look to find out who they should vote for judge are the endorsements. And I would recommend looking at the Houston Chronicle, the Union. If you're a Democrat, the Union endorsement's very big. I'm proud to say I got the AFL-CIO COPE endorsement. The Chronicle has not come out yet with their endorsements, but I've had it in the past and hope to get it again. Then there's Democratic clubs like Area 5, the Mexican American Bar Association of Houston. I would recommend that you find a group that has your same values that you are looking for in a judge, and then see who's been endorsed by that slate card. One of the big slate cards in the Democratic primary is the LGBTQ political caucus. I'm proud to have their endorsement. And that's a huge endorsement in our community, especially in the Democratic primary.
Judge, last thing I have for you is we're often talking about low voter turnout. And I know even when it gets to judges, it's much lower. People don't know there's not the superstar status that goes with that to vote for a particular candidate. Take a moment and explain to people why it is important that they vote in the judge races.
So the smaller the court, the more likely it is you're going to come in contact with that court. As we all know, the municipal courts are the lower courts. And you're likely to someday get a ticket, a speeding ticket or a traffic ticket or some other kind of noise violation or something, and end up in those courts. The county civil courts, as a smaller court in handling the appeals from justice of the peace, is a court that you're more likely than not going to appear in front of, more likely than the district courts with the big cases with Exxon and Chevron and those kind of players. So it's important because you may be in front of a judge, either you, a family member, or a friend may be facing an eviction. And you're going to want to make sure that you have an empathetic, compassionate judge sitting in that bench. I also forgot to mention I was endorsed by the Houston Black American Democrats the other day on Saturday. And that's one that I hold near and dear to my heart because it's important for all communities to know that I'm a judge for everybody. I grew up in Kingwood. I live in the central near Memorial Park area in Rice Military. but I campaign hard in the underserved communities like Sunnyside and Acres Home. And I'm proud of the work I've done in those communities to help get resources to them. For instance, I'm the prior board chair of Legacy Community Health Services, who's now opening a clinic in Acres Home. So I'd also say, look at the people who've been in your neighborhood and in your community is also a way to look at who you're going to vote for and why you should vote for them.
Judge Kovach, I'm interested to know your thoughts on Texas becoming the first state in the U.S. to eliminate the American Bar Association oversight of its law schools. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I disagree with that decision. I think the American Bar Association does an excellent job of screening law schools and looking at who should be qualified to sit the bar and become an attorney. You have to remember, attorneys have incredible power and they have fiduciary responsibilities. We need to make sure that we screen people to become lawyers to the utmost ability that we can, to be a lawyer. And it takes a lot. You have to show that you're have the right character to be a lawyer. And so I would stick with the American Bar Association. I'm not sure what the politics were behind the change.
Jim Kovach is the Harris County Civil Court at Law number 2 judge. Jim, thank you for joining us today on Hello Houston.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
Coming up, a discussion on human trafficking with the Children's Assessment Center. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues.
Houston Matters highlights the people, places, issues, and ideas that define Greater Houston. And we do it live on the air weekday mornings at 9 on News 88.7. But we know you're not always available then to listen. So subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours, or find each day's program to stream online at your leisure at houstonpublicmedia.org. And reach out with questions or comments anytime. Email us at talk@houstonmatters.org.
Can't get enough PBS programming? PBS Passport is an added member benefit that offers exclusive streaming access to many of your favorite programs on the PBS app. Whether you're an NBC listener, a PBS watcher, or both, your ongoing donations of at least $5 per month qualify for PBS Passport. Make your gift now to start watching at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
I want to make a movie about this.
The Arts Hour brings you film,
The themes in it are so far ahead of their time.
books,
The detail is amazing.
art,
There's all the personal stuff.
theatre,
Of singing and dancing and colors.
music,
The dance floor is made for dancing.
and everything in between.
I want it to be exciting.
That's the Arts Hour with me, Nikki Beatty. I really identified with it. From the BBC.
The Arts Hour, Friday nights at 9 on News 88.7.
Hey, this is David Green, host of Sports in America. Each week, we will explore stories that shape athletes and fans alike. Join me Sundays at 5 p.m. on News 88.7 for in-depth conversations with people across the world of sports, from the star who is the game winner to the millions of us whose lives are touched by the game, covering everything from elite competition to the personal stories behind the games. Sports in America, Sundays at 5 on News 88.7.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
The month of January is National Human Trafficking Awareness Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness and educating people about identifying and preventing this crime. And considering how Houston is consistently ranked as the most prevalent city for human trafficking, the Children's Assessment Center, a local children's advocacy organization, is working towards educating families about trafficking, while also emphasizing the important role the community plays in protecting children from this crime. To tell us more about local trends, prevention tips, and resources available to families, we welcome Karen Kennard, Assistant Executive Director of the Children's Assessment Center. Karen, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, it's interesting that I want to highlight why you feel it's important to educate families When we talk about families and human trafficking, what is the link and why are we looking at families?
Okay. Families are very important when it comes to especially our juveniles, which are very much part of the human trafficking, better known as child sex trafficking in Houston, which the Children's Assessment Center, as the advocacy center, is one of the agencies that address that problem here in Harris County, along with our multidisciplinary team. Many times people don't understand that a lot of times when children are trafficked, it's by someone they know. It could be a family member, a family acquaintance, a peer at school, because the people who traffic children, they recruit them from our schools, our malls, anywhere a child would hang out, online, social media sites where young people would hang out. So it's very important that families as well as the community are aware of the signs to look for when it comes to trafficking, especially with our young people and with FIFA coming. The things to look out for, what should they be aware of? Some of the things, the changes in behavior. A child who may have been active is now withdrawn, or a drop in grades, or the disappearing from home or school. Also things like gifts, unexplained expensive gifts, designer purses, especially phones. A child might spend a lot of time on their phone or their computer, and they're not willing to share who they're spending that time with. Children that are more at risk that we see are children who are having problems at home, children who are in foster care, or children who are having financial difficulties at home, or children who might be questioning their sexuality or part of the LGBT group in the Houston area. So we want our community to be aware. Now, there's not just one sign that definitely says that a child is being trafficked.
Right.
It could look different, but no one knows their child better than parents know their children.
There's a couple of things in this whole arena that I want to make sure that we get to and address. But the first thing I want to talk is dispelling the idea that it comes with the whole victim blaming mentality we seem to have, that these children are putting themselves out there, that these children are at fault, and that we need to look at what is making, as you were addressing, what is making a child prime for being trafficked in the first place. Can you talk about that?
Okay, no, this is definitely not a choice that they make. When you have people who victimize these children and they are recruiting them out of school, or they are using things or private information to blackmail them into the life, or they're giving them things that they would not have normally had to win them over and to win their trust and quote unquote love, that child is dedicated to that person. It starts off in the little Romeo Juliet syndrome at the beginning, and then it turns into abuse. Now, if a child is being threatened, their life is being threatened, or their family's life is being hard for them to come forward. And these are very different cases because these children are very protective of the person who has put them in this position or in the life, because they feel in some situations, especially children who may be struggling financially or in foster care or in a bad home environment and has experienced a lot of trauma, it's very hard for them to, or very easy for the trafficker to blackmail them or encourage them to be loyal to them.
Right. So Karen, I have to ask you though, so if you're combating, you're trying to provide and help a child, and you're bringing awareness to families, but oftentimes, as you just mentioned, it's starting within the home. There's an issue happening at home that these kids are looking for safety, and there are people saying, hey, I'll take care of you. I'm gonna treat you right. You're worth something, when they don't feel like they're worth something at home.
Yes.
So what resources do you provide when you're walking that line between trying to keep kids safe, bring awareness to families, but sometimes it's their own families that are causing the problem?
And that's where communication and education comes in. It's very important that we educate ourselves, educate our schools, educate our professionals.